Hey guys, Chris here. So today we're taking a look at some of the more common options you may come across under this situation, which is basically, should you buy your friend's old video card? So we'll take a look at our candidates here first. We have best case scenario, 6 gig GTX 1060. This is basically the nicest 1060 you're going to see. You're not going to probably see a lot of these. I think I've seen like 2 of these in the time I've been doing this. The next option, probably a very, very common option you're probably going to see a lot of, GTX 970. There's a lot of these floating around. Next option is, this one is a GTX 780. Most people have moved on from 7 series at this point, but you might encounter 1 or 2 here and there. And then the last option we have here, this isn't really for this specific video card, it's kind of a placeholder for a specific situation. This particular card is an old GTX 480. This one actually works. So the first situation is probably the most likely is the 1060. And the 1060, it's a great card. The only real question with this card is your friend offering you a good enough deal? And these don't always age the best just because prices tend to fluctuate, but currently in this market, and it is what is the day? October 22nd. It is October 22nd, 2021. As of today, a good deal for a 6 gig 1060 is going to be really anything under $200. My opinion is, if you're getting the friend deal, if you're the friend that's trying to sell the card, I mean, man, I don't usually like selling my old video cards to friends just because then I feel obligated to give them away. But if you really want to help a friend out, $100. That's the kind of pricing that I would be trying to get from this card if you wanted to help a friend out. Open market, if you wanted to give someone a good deal, $200. $300 is probably what the card's worth, give or take. Maybe a little more for a Strix, but I was looking on eBay, and $300 seems to be about what it's actually worth. The next option here, and if you can get, if somebody's offering you, sorry, I should add more there. If someone's offering you a 1066 gig, it doesn't really matter what one it is. Something like this is nice, but whether it be just some random old Dell or Alienware, HP, whatever blower version, or whether or not it's something like that. If you're being offered that card somewhere in the neighborhood of $100, $150, and you don't have a better option, buy the card. Just buy the card, call it a day. Next option on here is the 970. So, personally, I like 970s. Usually you can get them cheap enough that you can put together a halfway capable gaming PC, even today, for pretty cheap. 970, I recommend the card hands down. It is an awesome budget option, but it is only an awesome budget option. It's not a budget option if somebody wants $250, $300 for it. I see people trying to get that much out of them on eBay. I see people trying to get that much out of them on Craigslist. Stop it. You're trying to rip people off. Stop it. Okay? Yeah, I'm talking to you. Okay, so if you're offering this card to a friend, come on, help your friends out. $50. If you're trying to get more than, to make money on this card. Well, I don't buy cards to make money. I buy cards to build gaming systems that I sell to make money. I don't actually buy cards for the purpose of reselling cards for money. But when I buy a GTX 970 for the purpose of building a system that I intend to make profit on, I typically like to pay somewhere in the neighborhood of $100. Worst case scenario, if I really need a card and I need a card and I got a good deal on the rest of the set of parts, I just need a card and I need something to go in there, and it's got to be at least a 970. I'll pay $150. That's the absolute most though, and that is unusual. I generally do not like paying more than $100 for a 970. I don't care that eBay is showing $250, whatever. I don't care. eBay's also showing $250 for that. So why should I pay $250 for that if I can go pay $250 for that? Like, come on, people. And then the next option you may come across, the GTX 780. The last time so a 780 is the only card I have ever handed over to a friend. I gave him that card for free. It had a defective HDMI port on it. Other than that, it worked. And I mean, as we can see, I mean, this is a fairly standard configuration one, and you've got dual DVIs and a display port and an HDMI. If you cannot figure out how to adapt and live without HDMI, if the physical port being defective is the only problem, then you shouldn't even be trying to use a gaming card. I mean, that's their basic stuff. So my opinion is that if you've got a 7 series card and you're trying to hand it over to a friend or trying to get it from a friend, this is something you should be getting for $20-$30, maybe free. It's a 780. I'll put them in systems that I'm selling to make money, but keep in mind, that's a complete system. That's a built, tested, ready to go machine, a full machine. I don't think they're worth a whole lot standalone. A 780 is on the very far outer fringes. I'd like to call it a poor man's 970, but the 780, it's fairly similar overall performance to a 980. You're going to lag a little in video RAM constrained areas. You're probably not going to see, even looking at similar frame rates, the 7 series card is probably going to be less consistent than a 9 or 10 series card, even for a given frame rate. But it's not a bad card. I mean, if you're being offered a 770, 780, something like that, and someone's offering you 2 for free, and again, you don't have a better option, take the card. It'll run. So 780 will run any modern game up to and including Cyberpunk. So it's gonna break down like this. Current generation games, you're gonna have to turn them as low as you can possibly go. You might still be able to run them at 1080p, but you're gonna have to turn the settings as low as you can possibly go, and you're gonna have to tolerate a little bit lower frame rate. So something like Cyberpunk, you're gonna be turning it down all the way. You're gonna be running it maybe as low as 720, but like I said, good chance you'll be hitting 1080. But you're going to be doing it at 30, 40 FPS. You're going to have to deal with that. That's current gen games. You're probably not going to be running Warzone on it. Warzone's a little demanding. Fortnite's going to be fine. Apex will be playable. You're going to be looking at low settings, fairly low frame rate, but it'll be playable. Then one generation old. So looking at Assassin's Creed Odyssey, Far Cry New Dawn, what's another example? And I haven't played a lot of the one generation old games. Something like Far Cry New Dawn, Battlefield 5, maybe. Those games are going to run at mostly medium settings, 1080p. You'll probably hit around 60 FPS. Assassin's Creed Odyssey, that'll be playable at low settings, but it'll be playable. Then 2 generation old games, so we're looking 2015, 2016, stuff like that. You're probably going to be running mostly medium, upper medium to high settings, 1080p, maybe hitting 75 to 100 FPS. That kind of performance. So it's definitely a usable card. It's just not a card you really want to pay money for. So then the last possibility here, this is, like I said, this is a placeholder. This is your friend is trying to offer you a card that's not worth anything. I've done some testing with this, and this is going to be very representative of a lot of older high-end cards. 480s, 580s, Radeon 79, 78, 79's decent. 78 series, 7850, 7870, maybe a little older, maybe 6900, 6950, stuff like that. They're usable cards. I've done a little bit of testing with 400 series, and if it's backed up with a solid set of parts, something, if you really put it in a balls to the wall build like my my machine over there, my 9900K, and literally the only constraint whatsoever is the card itself. I've found games like Fortnite, for example, are usually playable. They'll actually usually run better than you'd expect for a card that old. But it's not worth anything. Your friends should be paying you money to take the card from them. But these are the options, and for those that are in that position of, should I buy my friend's old video card? The numbers that I gave, keep in mind, those are based on. So I'm looking at this stuff. I'm looking at it from the point of you already have otherwise decent hardware. Let's just throw out 6th gen or newer. Realistically, 8th gen. Yeah, probably 8th gen, like an i5 8600K, i7 8700K, i9 9900K, 9700K, i7, chips like that. If you've got an otherwise decent set of parts backing it, that's what these numbers are based on. This is should you buy one of these cards to complete your rig for now until you can get, and that's the other thing. These are cards to complete your rig for now. For now. These are not cards that you want to spend a ton of money on as your permanent card. And to give you an idea, I mean, like this card right here, this 970, that's a card that I'm going to do a probably 5 to 550 build with. So when you see these cards for, say, 250, 300, keep in mind, Dragon Systems is going to be selling an entire gaming desktop, probably a 4770K or a 6700 non-K, 8 gigs if it's 6700, 16 gigs if it's 4770K. I'm going to be selling the entire system, all decent parts, with this card for 5 to 550. So keep that in mind when you see the price on these cards. I haven't decided what I'm going to do with this yet. It'll probably go. I really have. I need to let go of my second 1080. I really do. Nobody really needs 2 of them, but I don't want to. I like having 2 1080s on hand. I know, first world problems. But this one is probably going to go as an alternative. I'm thinking maybe that build that I do, that whatever high end build. I've got the parts for a 10th gen, a 10700. So I'll probably offer it base with this, maybe $900, $800, something like that. I'll have to look and see what the market's doing. I really try to I really try to keep the system prices competitive. I really want my prices to be on the lower end of going rates, and I want to offer more. I want people to be able to see the game demo videos you all see on here. I want people to be able to test systems, that kind of thing. But anyway, though, again, I hope this gives people kind of an idea. Should you buy your friend's old gaming card? And anyway, though, I hope people find this interesting and informative, and thanks for watching the video.